Zoom that we're in.
The
Corey.
school board Zoom?
Yeah, Corey Gordon.
Yeah.
We're there, and then there's.
Thank you. Okay. Are we a go?
You guys look like you're gonna be broadcasting basketball games.
Should be live. Are we live on YouTube?
If someone could take the time of the call to order and who does what, I need to go to the restroom.
Greg,
Until I get back.
just to write down
I'm on it.
who, time, whatever. Who's giving us the green light?
Let me just share my screen and make sure. I haven't embedded it on the webpage. That's a problem. Sorry, Amy, I'm gonna need a second. I gotta embed the link on the webpage.
Scott, I am holding you to the 8 o'clock.
All right. Hopefully Corey heard that.
Corey, he says 3 minutes.
I said 30.
We heard 3. Forgot you were listening.
Those pesky zeros.
Yeah. Your science teachers struggle with those zeros.
Corey, if Donald Trump was here, he'd say you're fired.
Very true. Very true.
Too soon. Do we put these on?
Yes, yes. And they said, don't mess with turning it on and off.
The webpage. It's on YouTube. It might be under my account on YouTube though. I think that's the issue. But I'm not going to switch it at this point.
You put it on the homepage.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds.
Look how fast you are. No.
Content. Now, let me see the source code. Is the source right there? You need your eyes because we don't. You see the board meeting, COVID dashboard, families. December 16th. Save close. Okay, Phil, I'm sending it to you via email. Amy, we're good to go.
You are good?
On the webpage.
Is that what you said, Scott?
Are you not? Is it live though? Are you seeing the American flag waving? Sorry, one sec.
No, you're fine.
Right above that, there's nothing. Here, I'll just type in. What's the date today?
Mary, did you get Doug food? Did you get Doug food?
You got it?
Doug, did you order food for him? Yeah. Okay, good.
Okay, Amy, I think we're good.
Okay. All right, we would like to welcome all of those who are joining us tonight to our meeting, and we apologize for our tardiness. We have been in another meeting at a different location and also had a few technical difficulties, so we apologize. We are going to start this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, if you'd like to join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we're going to start out by having an opening prayer by Mr. Levi Owen.
Our righteous and eternal Father in heaven, Father, we're grateful for this opportunity that we have to meet this evening to discuss the needs of the children in our district. We pray, Father, for thy guidance and direction as we strive to make decisions that are best for the kids that we have been given stewardship over. We pray for our nation and for the leaders of our nation that we can find unity and perspective that will allow us to move forward. And this we pray in thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
All right. So tonight we are starting off with what we call our annual meeting. This is where we reorganize the board organization. And so as of right now, the organization of the board is dissolved, meaning the people who are sitting in the current positions, the board chair, vice chair, and treasurer. And we do this every year. And so it's just what we do once a year. We reorganize the board. So we are going to start off by reorganizing the board chairperson, and I would call for nominations for the chairperson of the board. Yes.
I would nominate Amy Landers for chairman of the board of Bonneville Joint School District 93.
Okay, so Amy Landers has been nominated. Is there other nominations for the board chair? Okay. So hearing none, we will close the nominations and we will call for a roll call vote. So Chad Dance,
Yes.
Greg Calder,
Yes.
Paul Jenkins.
Yes.
Scott Lynch.
Yes.
And I, Amy Landers, am a yes. So Amy Landers will sit as the board chair for the next 12 months until the next meeting, the next annual meeting. We will now call for nominations for the board vice chairperson.
I nominate Chad Dance.
I would second that.
Okay, I've heard a nomination for Chad Dance. Is there any other nominations? And hearing none, we'll go ahead and call for a roll call vote. Chad Dance.
Yes.
Greg Calder.
Yes.
Paul Jenkins.
Yes.
Scott Lynch.
Yes.
Naomi Landers, I'm a yes. Chad Dance will sit as the vice chair for our school board for the next 12 months. We now are calling for nominations for the treasurer for the board.
Madam Chair, I nominate Greg Calder.
Okay, Mr. Calder has been nominated as treasurer. Do I hear any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote for the treasurer for Greg Calder. So Chad Dance,
Yes.
Greg Calder,
Yes.
Paul Jenkins.
Yes.
Scott Lynch.
Yes.
And Naomi Landers, I'm a yes. So Greg will sit as the treasurer for the next 12 months. We will now call for nominations for the board clerk.
I would nominate Mary Hanson.
Okay, Mary Hanson has been nominated. Is there any other nominations? If so, we're all kind of sunk. So hearing none, we need to do a roll call vote for Mary Hanson as the board clerk. Chad Dance.
Yes.
Greg Calder.
Yes.
Paul Jenkins.
Yes.
Scott Lynch.
Yes.
And Naomi Landers, I'm a yes. Congratulations, Mary. And we are also looking at our board calendar with all of our meetings for 2021, which you guys had that attached to board book this past week. Now, and it's also sitting in front of you right now on the table and in your packet. So is there any discussion with regards to the meeting schedule for 2021 that the board would like to have? Okay, so hearing nobody, I don't hear anybody.
I was just gonna make a
So-
motion to approve, if that, is that timely?
Yep, I am calling for a motion.
Okay, I move that we approve the calendar as presented.
I second it.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Calder, seconded by Mr. Dance. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Sorry, I didn't call for discussion, Greg, because it seems kind of moot, like a moot point on that.
Yep.
So we would like to remind all board members to review the code of ethics. It needs to be signed and returned to the board clerk. Mary has provided those code of ethics for us. They should be sitting on your table in front of you. Those need to be signed. Just pass them down to Mary once you get it signed. Okay, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order, the regular meeting. So we'll do a roll call. Chad Dance,
Yes.
here.
Or here.
Greg Calder.
Here.
Paul Jenkins. Scott Lynch. Naomi Landers, I'm here. We would like to welcome everybody who is joining us via social media. And thank you for your patience and waiting for us to get started tonight. We'd like to inform any patrons that would like to have public input with the board tonight to visit www.D93schools.org. Go under the school board tab and you will find where you can access public input. Due to the sensitive nature, complaints about personnel or individual students must be submitted in accordance to board policy 4112 uniform grievance. Grievance forms are found on the district home webpage under the school board tab and then the board policies. We would need a motion to go ahead and approve our agenda tonight.
Second.
Sorry, if I could, due to information that we just received today, I'd ask that the board might approve an amendment to the agenda. It's a last minute thing that we're just made aware of, to consider making a change to our approved calendar for this school year.
Okay, so we need to have a motion to amend the agenda. Been moved by Mr. Calder, seconded by Mr. Jenkins. All in favor? What is the good faith reason?
Just, it's an exigent circumstance that we were just made aware of within the last couple of hours.
And it's related to the calendar, right?
Yeah, related to the calendar.
For the school calendar.
Yeah, the school calendar.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. So then, since we amended the agenda, now we have to do a motion to approve the agenda as amended, correct? Okay, so we need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Moved by Mr. Dance,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Lynch. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And the consent calendar, is there any board member that would like to remove any item from the consent calendar and put it on the regular agenda?
I move we approve the consent calendar.
Right, so I don't hear anybody wanting to move anything, and Mr. Calder has made a motion to go ahead and approve the consent calendar. Do we have a second?
Second.
So it's been motion by Mr. Calder, seconded by Mr. Dance. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Sorry, Greg, I'm not calling for discussion on all these. things.
The functors motion.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move into public input. We have got a couple of people that I know are wanting to speak with us tonight. The board policies to keep things to around 3 minutes. And so, do we have more public input besides the two? So just the two, okay. So, I don't know who has control of the volume, but we're gonna go ahead and turn the time over to Audrey Harmon and Caitlin Cook.
Hi. Okay, so hi, my name is Audrey Harmon and this is Caitlin Cook. We are 8th grade students at the Jaguar program at Rocky Mountain, and we would like to propose that the board consider establishing a mastery and project-based learning program accessible to all District 93 high school students. In mastery-based learning, students are required to show mastery of a concept before they can move on. This means that students are able to work at their own pace and don't have to move on until they are completely ready. The only mastery and project-based program in high school in District 93 is at Hillcrest. If there are similar programs at Thunder Ridge and Bonneville, more students could continue working at their own pace and in a style that benefits them. Students who are ready can move along quickly through the material and still have support from peers and teachers. Students that need extra help can get the help that they need and work at a pace that would ensure mastery of the course material. The process of mastery helps students obtain many skills that traditional classrooms don't provide, such as developing self-motivation, problem solving, collaboration skills, and the ability to make decisions about your own education. You how to set goals and plan for the future. We learn how to become goal-oriented and the benefits of writing goals and following through with them. We have chosen to be on Team Jaguar because we have found that we learn better in this setting. It differs for everybody, and the kids who choose to be on Team Jaguar have gotten used to and benefited from the learning style that it offers. We are losing this opportunity when we go to high school. There are many students who are already ahead and are not going to be able to keep steadily progressing throughout high school. There are also kids who are accustomed to being able to get one-on-one help when they struggle, and those students are also losing this opportunity. Some have claimed that because of the realm, the mastery and project-based learning program at Hillcrest, that Thunder Ridge and Bonneville don't need these programs. Many students are unable to travel to Hillcrest to use the realm. If Bonneville and Thunder Ridge had similar programs, that would mean that possibly 3 times the number of people would benefit from mastery and project-based learning programs. Another solution would be for Praxium, the new name for the Jaguar program, to be open to students to 7th through 12th grade. The realm could possibly be merged with Praxium so that all grade levels would be accommodated. Right now, many students succeed on JAG and then hit a brick wall when they try to transfer to a traditional environment. About 2 to 3 months ago, we started a petition to get these programs at the high school level. We have received about 180 signatures from students, parents, and teachers from across the district. The Jaguar program has been open almost 7 years, and so far more than 700 students have participated in this program. Thank you for listening to our proposal, and we would appreciate it very much if you would consider ideas, because we believe that opening a mastery program to all high school students will benefit not just us, but all of District 93. Thank you again for your time. Do you have any questions?
I do have a quick question for you girls. You said that you had a petition that you guys had sent around. Was that just with people that are currently at Rocky Mountain? The 186 people that you had signed it?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we took it to a bunch of we have a bunch of elementary school teachers, and we have parents and teachers and almost all of the students that are currently in JAG.
And former students of the Jaguar program.
And I'm just curious, Mr. Wilson, here, do you remember how many students do we need to have in a high school program in order to justify calling the teachers that we need to run that? Do you remember?
Well, I think we probably want to sit down and talk with the high school administrators to look at it. If it's a standalone program, you have electives that factor in. High school is just a much different challenge than, say, the middle school because of all the different elective offerings plus all the different graduation requirements. So I would just say we certainly have a conversation. Scott's been doing it at Hillcrest, as they alluded to, and we can kind of talk about what that looks like, potentially the other schools.
Yeah, well, it's certainly something that we can look into, girls. We appreciate you coming. And we had a question over here.
I have a question for you girls. So we've heard the positives of the program. What are some problems that you've seen in the Jaguar program?
There are many kids who go on to this program thinking that it'll be easier, and there are and the learning style just doesn't work for them. So there are some kids that go into the program and actually don't do as well, but there are also many kids who do really, really well in this program.
And we also have one of the cons of it not being in the high schools at the moment is there are students that get this one-on-one help and need it and are used to being able to talk to a teacher every day when they need help. And those students are losing it. There's also students like myself that have moved on to past what their course material is. So I've moved on past 8th grade material and I've kind of hit a brick wall because I'm not able to keep progressing and I'm stuck and had to slow down a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have other questions from board members? Or administration? Well, we appreciate you guys. It's definitely something that we will talk with our superintendent about and figure something out. So thank you.
Thank you.
It's okay. I just wanted to tell them they did a great job. I'm sure it was not scary at all coming here tonight, but they're passionate about to come on and talk to a bunch of adults about it. That's great.
Thank you.
Appreciate you for being brave. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on past our public input portion of our meeting, and we have Corey Telford with us on Zoom, who is going to be talking to us about the advanced opportunities. So Corey, we'll turn the time over to you.
Corey, you should be able to share your screen.
All right. I'd just like to give you a summary of what's been going on with advanced opportunities. As those young ladies were talking about, that they kind of hit a standstill. One of the things that we started and put a lot of emphasis on last year is Jumpstart High School. So kids that have mastered or kids that want to work ahead on their high school credits, and particularly we have lots of kids in Jaguar program who, as they're working through the high school program and are working through Jaguar, excuse me, and mastering those things, they're able to go through and start taking high school credits through Bonneville Online High School and work ahead on those high school credits so that they can continue to fast track their progress so that they can master those subjects and then go on to take college courses and start that process of post-secondary education. Last year, we added to the two middle schools, we added a CTE career explorations class. The students were exposed to a variety of career clusters. Because one of the things I found is that as I met with students to talk to them about as they wanted to pursue college credit and look at degrees and potentially associate degrees, a lot of them didn't know what they wanted to study. And I don't expect a kid at 16 years old or 14 or 15 to have a clear idea, but this is just to give them a general background of different career clusters, whether it be engineering, medical, business and accounting, to service industry, and provide them just an exposure of what it requires to get an education there. Last year, we had students in Bonneville School District earn over 1,100 credits and just overload high school opportunities, credits that they earned for high school. We've had 61 teachers be approved for dual credit and AP, and we have partnered with 7 different post-secondary institutions. Last year, we had at Brigham Young University to our partner schools, and we have several students that are taking advantage of that opportunity. Just wanted to share with you just briefly, just in 2016-17, the state allocated the $4,125 to all students throughout the state of Idaho in grades 7 through 12. And you can see what it's done for the students in Bonneville School District. Those numbers have increased dramatically to where last year we're just below 14,000 credits. And I think this year we're just looking at the numbers from first trimester, we had just over 5,000 credits issued to the students in District 93 for first trimester. So we're well on track to exceed 15,000 credits this coming school year. The number of AP.
Sorry, can I interrupt to clarify something you said?
You bet.
Okay, on the high school overload credits that were on the previous slide, is that 7th and 8th graders that are taking?
Those are primarily those are primary 7th and 8th grade students, as well as students who took classes during the summer to get ahead so they could graduate early, or to free up spots in their schedule so that they could take their acquired class plus their college courses that they wanted to take. So, but the bulk of those credits, I think if I looked at my data, I think there was about 600 of those credits that were earned by middle school students.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Any other questions? The number of AP exams per school year have stayed about the same, about that 500 range. I think, again, these are AP exams that are paid for out of advanced opportunities. Those numbers have stayed pretty consistent over the last few years. We stay right in that around that 550 AP exams per school year. We have lots of students. We have lots of courses that are AP and dual credit hybrids, and so some kids are choosing to do the dual credit option instead of doing the AP option. But I'm still happy that those numbers are staying the same. I think that there's some great value, especially when it comes to transferability to those AP exams and students being able to score a 3, 4, or 5. It was a little bit difficult last spring with COVID. Most of those students had to take a 1-question AP exam and respond to that, and that's how they were able to earn their AP score last year. So there was lots of technical difficulties that kids experienced, but I feel good about their resilience and being able to do that. This is my favorite part, is just seeing the number of students that are taking advantage of those opportunities. We're almost at 3,000 students in grades 7 through 12 that are taking advantage of these advanced opportunities across the district, whether that be taking an AP class, taking a dual credit course, or a CT exam or an overload high school course. So I love seeing that number go up every year. And a lot of the reason why we saw that huge increase last year is one of the things that all the comprehensive high schools and Bonneville Online have done is all health classes in the high school now are all dual credit. And so every sophomore is exposed to one dual credit class in their sophomore year. And so I think we'll continue to see those numbers increase. I know that Hillcrest this year has made all of their communications classes dual credit. And so I think we'll see that number continue to increase for those students. And then again, talking about the number of students that are going all the way, we have many students who are getting 30 to 40 college credits, which is kind of my ultimate goal for students. But we have some students that choose to go the extra mile and go above and beyond. And those students go and earn associate's degrees or apply to earn a GEM certificate. I think we'll start to see those GEM certificate numbers increase as we work with college and career advisors to help students understand what is a possibility from a GEM certificate, that their general education requirements at a college or university could be waived by them earning a specific 36 credits in order to earn that GEM certificate. But last year we had 27 students earn their associate's degrees. I thought at the beginning of the year we had about 31 or 32, but they were just a couple credits short, and it wasn't going to be as beneficial for them going into their program. So a couple of those students dropped off, but for the most part, I'm really excited to see 27 students earn their associate's degrees. We met with Idaho State University right before Christmas break, and we met with all the students online in an online meeting that are in the process of earning their associate's degree this coming school year. And I believe we have 51 students who are tracking towards earning an associate's degree this coming school year. So that's really all I have to share with you. This is just kind of shows you those number of credits by each of the schools and exams and the number of students that are being affected by that. Bonneville Online has an advantage on the number of students because we run a summer school program, and with that summer school program, we're able to get lots of kids across the district that come in and take those courses with us as overload high school courses as well as college credit courses. So looking at some of the district goals and looking at the percentage of students earning 1 credit and the percentage of students earning 9 or more credits, we're tracking towards those district goals and continuing working towards that. So it's been a great opportunity to be involved in advanced opportunities and just see the growth that's occurred with that. So any questions?
Corey, I don't know if your presentation can be given to the board like via email or something, but I personally would like to have hard copy of this. I think it's good. So when patrons have questions about it, then we can have the information right at our fingertips.
You bet. Yeah, I'll send it to all of you this evening. So, and share it with all of you.
Thank you.
You bet. What was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Mary said that you could send it to her and she'll post it with the minutes as well.
Okay, sounds
So
good.
just include her on your email.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Greg, go ahead.
Just a quick one. It sounds like Hillcrest has kind of moved to health and communications, both being, if you will, exclusively dual credit. How many credits are each of those classes? Do you know offhand?
I do. Yeah, each of those classes are 3 credits each. So,
Okay.
so just by a student doing that, they're going to have 6 college credits by the time they graduate from high school.
Okay.
And really, And really, a kid that's on track in math is going to earn another 3 by taking college algebra in their senior year. So by doing those, just those 3 courses, they're going to have 9 credits when they graduate from high school. So potentially we could have 95% of kids earning, or 90% to 95% kids earning college credit, 9 credits before they graduate from high school.
That's helpful. And then is the plan to kind of do the same thing in the other high schools, or what are we?
All dependent on teacher
Teachers.
and their certification with
Okay.
the colleges. So it's
Okay.
not super easy.
Okay.
To help offset though, Corey does have some teachers that go from other schools that will offer those dual credit classes at Bonneville if they don't have a dual credit communications teacher or
Okay.
a dual credit psychology teacher that's teaching at multiple locations. So we've shifted away from having kids travel to different schools and having teachers travel to schools to teach those courses.
Okay.
Corey, you had on the list of colleges, you showed BYU. Do you mean BYU Idaho, or is that?
I do. Yeah. I might have forgot the Idaho. Yeah, it is Brigham Young University, Idaho.
Okay.
Tyler Williams is over their concurrent credit program up there, has been a great resource for students. One of the advantages that BYU Idaho does, again, being a private college, is those students, instead of it being $75 a credit, if they take one of the online classes through BYU Idaho, it's $30 a credit. So a 3 credit class that costs $225 could cost potentially the same $90 at BYU Idaho. So I think there's some opportunities for students there. There's more restrictions, like you have to be 16, you have to have a SAT or ACT score, those type of things. But it's definitely more cost effective, and we have several students who are taking advantage of that as they're getting low on funds.
Is there any other questions for Mr. Telford from anyone?
I have one more.
Okay.
But if anybody else does. Would you say we're still, well, I think there's been some discussion in the past about wanting to be careful about not pushing everybody to get an associate's, for example. Can you kind of describe for me how you perceive how we're promoting this and what we're kind of encouraging people to do?
Yeah, you bet. I think that students can get very easily, by just replacing some of their high school graduation requirements in the process. I think a student can earn 30 credits very easily. And that's really what I've always been about, is students earning 30 to 40 college credits. It takes a lot of additional time and effort and a lot of study to earn that additional 20 to 30 credits in order to earn the associate's degree. And that's why that GEM certificate is going to be such a key piece for our population, for our students. I was looking at some data I received from the State Department of Education on just the number of students who had how much money they'd used in their advanced opportunities. And I looked at down to students that had $300 left at the beginning of the school year. And we were at 150 students district wide that only had $300 or less left at the beginning of the school year. So if they have $300 or less, they should be able to earn a GEM certificate and potentially have their general education requirements waived at a state college or university. So that's always been my target. I talked to a lot of people about associate's degrees, but one of my caveats is I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about you meeting the 6 general education objectives that are most common to all colleges. And that's really what we focus on first. And then later on their junior and senior year, we try to focus on some of those other areas that are required for the associate's degree.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. We appreciate
You bet.
taking and waiting for us with our late start today. So thank you. We look forward to your email. All
Yep,
right,
it's
we're
awesome.
Thank you. We're gonna ask Dr. Wilson to go ahead and present the policies that we have on our agenda for initial consideration.
So tonight we're presenting to the board a policy to address public complaints and grievances. Currently, we have two different policies and procedures. One that's titled public complaints, one that's titled grievances. And they're about 95% overlap between them, and then a 5% differentiation that doesn't necessarily make sense on why they're different. And so for the sake of making sure that principals, administration know which policy to follow in which situations, we're combining those. Probably another key aspect to that, based on some comments you heard tonight, is there are some circumstances where we do not follow those policies, and that has to do with people when there's a claim of sexual harassment or a claim of bullying, hazing, or harassment. In those situations, it doesn't make sense, for example, for them to go to the person who's allegedly bullying and try to resolve that. So this more clearly articulates those exemptions to this policy to try to create a much more clear pathway on how these need to be resolved.
Sounds good. There's no motion necessary for that particular one because it's initial consideration. So thank you, Dr. Wilson. Is there questions for the board with regards to those policies that we're looking at?
We have those on board docs.
Yeah.
I didn't have a chance to look at
All right. Dr. Wilson, if you would also like to give the board, I guess, the information with regards to the meeting that we attended this week.
Yeah, I'll be brief on this. So we attended a meeting last week that was provided from the Idaho Attorney General's office about the open meeting law, and particularly how we need to handle that with respect to current health orders. Technically tonight, if you look around, you can see we're in violation of the current health order with the number of people that are here. So I would just say maybe we need to kind of think about the limit of 10 is really challenging. We have 5 board members plus a clerk, which is 6. We have 4 members of the executive team. That doesn't afford anybody else to attend unless some of us start to attend via Zoom. So that was probably like the key thing that I took away from it. This is not a hard and fast thing in the open meeting law, but Brian Kane, if you've heard him speak, I really respect Brian and his opinion. He encouraged us to think about limiting the number of people participating in the meeting so that members of the public could attend if they wanted to on a very limited basis. At the same time, I really feel like this current health order is likely, based on the current trends in Idaho, could be rescinded, and we might be back like the 50 number, which is much more manageable for these types of meetings. So at this point, I don't think there's really any action we need to take, but maybe in 2 weeks at our work session, we might want to revisit the topic and see if some of us want to rotate through Zoom or how we want to proceed with public meetings. Currently, the only requirement is that I have to be present wherever we're saying the meeting is, and then we can handle the Zoom, and all the board members could be at home from that point if we want to go back to a full Zoom meeting. In some respects, it's easier for deliberation because then we don't have to have this entire microphone set up so we can hear each other both in person and online. So just something to think about, and let's revisit that in 2 weeks.
And Brian's, if you will, recommendation about limiting so the public can attend, that just so that they could participate more fully. And
yeah, he felt in his role that it would be a good idea from a public relations standpoint to still provide limited in-person attendance if people wanted to. And maybe this is speaking too much, but there was a member of the Idaho press that I think would appreciate the opportunity for the press to attend in person, which currently they don't have. As we spoke to some members of our press, they kind of appreciate the fact they can just watch it via Zoom, maybe in their pajamas. Just inferring that. But.
All right, is there anything else that you wanted to add to any of that?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we've done a great job of striving to comply with competing objectives, and I appreciate the board's cooperation and patience with this as we work through all the technology issues surrounding this situation. But that was really my takeaway. Did you have anything else from it, Chairman Landers?
I really felt like sitting through that meeting, every single thing that they kept bringing up, I was just check the box, like, oh, we've done that, we've done this, we're doing this, we're doing that, and I really feel like the school district and the administration and Phil and Sam have just done a great job with trying to get everything, all the technology up and going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I feel like we've transitioned into what they're asking of us very quickly. And I know it's been a lot of stinking work for everybody, but I feel like we've done a really good job, especially after sitting through that meeting and they read all those case studies and scenarios. And I felt like in every one, we had really hit the mark and we're doing a good job. So that's kudos to the district and all of the people that made that happen.
I do have a peripheral question. Texting. When we become a group text, my understanding is that becomes discoverable.
and it is a violation of the open meeting law.
Yes.
So basically, and Brian's, I mean, he referenced this a bit. They're trying to keep that meeting focused specifically on open meeting. And so, but they did come up questions about public records as well. But over and over at the Idaho law seminar, he emphasizes the point that whether it's email or text, the board cannot deliberate on issues outside. And so that's why, and I know it's a challenge, but that's why he always says, do not reply all to any emails that go out either from the board clerk, from the superintendent. If you have a question or clarification, you're welcome to reply just to me or to Mary about that. But we cannot use text messages or email inadvertently to circumvent the open meeting law. I know they would be discoverable. And not just discoverable, subject to the public records request.
I just do not have people reading all my text messages. I understand that they all become discoverable.
All right, is there any other questions for Dr. Winston about that meeting? All right. Guy, we're gonna go ahead and turn the time over to you with regards to the resolution.
Okay, for the past two, in fact, maybe the last 3 months, we've had several discussions regarding the supplemental levy and plant facility levy election that we've been talking about for March that would replace the expiring levies that expire the end of June this year. So we've worked with Nick Miller and Eric at Piper Sandler to make sure that the language is in place. And so in your packets, you have two resolutions, one for the supplemental levy for 6.8 million for 2 years, and the other for the plant facility for 10-year levy at 3.8 million each year. Shouldn't be any surprises in what you see there. It's what we've talked about. It's just been to formalize the language and put it in resolution format.
The board have an opportunity to look at all of that in the board packet? Yes.
Yes. I'd make a motion to approve the supplemental levy resolution. Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the supplemental levy language, the resolution, and have a second by Mr. Calder. Is there any discussion on that from the board? We've had a lot of meetings on this, so. Have any questions on that one? No? Okay, hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, Guy. And then I guess we need one more motion to approve the plant facility levy resolution as well, so.
I so move.
A second.
Moved by Mr. Calder, seconded by Mr. Dance to go ahead and approve the plant facility levy resolution language. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Madam Chair, could I
Yes.
ask one general question?
Yes.
So moving forward, the plan to promote this is what?
So I think we'll make that a topic of our work session in 2 weeks, so we can talk about what information we need to convey and the best way to do that.
Convey the facts to the public so that they're informed.
Yep.
And can make an informed decision.
Yep. last month after our work session, actually after the regular meeting, I did discuss it in our D93 live with the superintendent. So that was first attempt. Tomorrow we have another one of those scheduled, so I'll discuss it again there. So at least getting the information out there to start, but we definitely want to coordinate a plan on how we want to educate the public about it.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Jason Lords, we're going to turn the time over to you to talk about some of these other policies that we have on here and changes to procedures.
Yeah, Chairman Landers, thanks. We're proposing a temporary change to the procedure of our 2700, which is our high school graduation requirements, which takes into account the comprehensive and our alternative, or especially high school graduation requirements. Due to COVID-19, the state board waived the college entrance exam as a graduation requirement for the senior class, for the class of 2021. If you remember last year, it was similar, but they put that back into place. And so the majority of our seniors have either taken an ACT, and then the state pushed the SAT test window to October. So really the majority of our students have taken some type of college entrance exam, but we still have handfuls at each school that haven't yet, and they still have the opportunity that they can, that they could take the ACT or they could even take that SAT. It's just we would be waiving that requirement for the senior class this year if they're not able to.
All right. So let's get a motion on the table, and then we'll call for discussion if there is any with regards to the temporary change for the graduation requirements. So we need a motion.
Yeah, I move that we adopt the proposed changes to the procedure.
Mr. Butler has made a motion. Mr. Jenkins has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion or questions about that change for this year for these particular seniors?
So what do they do? It was waived by the state board, but to get into college, don't they have to take it?
Yep. Yeah. So any kid who's still planning to go into college will take the exam.
Yeah, and they still have that opportunity to do so. This is just making it so if a student either wasn't planning to, wasn't planning to go to college, and I believe, I can't remember the state of Idaho, that the state of Idaho in our colleges dropped that entrance exam as well. So if they were planning on attending an Idaho university, they wouldn't need it anyway. But if they're planning on going to a different place, a different state, then they could possibly need that. But and like I said, the majority of our seniors have. It's just that smaller group, and they would still have opportunity. This is just making it so it's not mandated, it's not required for them to graduate.
Is there any other questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Wilson, you could let the board know about revisions to our reopening plan.
Yeah, I think I jinxed myself because it was literally like 2 days ago. I said, man, we're going to get through 2 months without having to make any changes to the plan. And then sure enough, it's amazing how fast things can change. So these are fairly, well, they're language-wise, they're very small changes, but I think they're going to have a large impact on us as a district. So first of all, just a quick update. To date, since the start of school, we now have had 697 confirmed cases of COVID in the district. You can see the majority of those are with students, 445 students, 250 staff members. 2 others, those could be contractors, student teachers, those types of people. But probably the most important thing is you can see we've been on a solid downward trend with coronavirus cases since about the middle of November, which is awesome. Even coming back from Christmas break this week, it's still remained remarkably low. And I think the encouraging thing is it's not just our school district, but you can see the county rate is mirroring really what's happening there as well. So that's that's really, really good news. So with that, a couple of updates that have come to us that give us an opportunity to do some different things in our plan. The most significant one is the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare issued new guidance regarding students quarantining from school. And we've been asking for this since the start of school. And so we're super grateful that our public health agencies are giving us this flexibility. And that flexibility is that if there is close contact at school with a confirmed case, and both a student who was sick as well as a student who they were in close, or students with whom they were in close contact are wearing masks appropriately, meaning that they've covered their mouth and nose during that time that they were in close contact, the exposed students no longer need to quarantine. So it'll make a huge difference on keeping our kids in school for the rest of the year. So we're really excited that we have public health support to do that. And so that is a change to the plan. And so we're asking the board to approve language that was submitted to you in the board book that would approve that change to our plan. We will still continue to contact trace, which means we'll still identify those kids that were in close contact. The teacher is going to check off whether or not they were both wearing masks. If the students were not wearing masks, they will be still under that mandatory quarantine. But if they were, we'll just notify the families, let them know that there was close contact and ask them to monitor symptoms for the next 14 days. Any questions about that change?
I had one, Scott. I had some students asking about this. Like, what about lunch? Because they're all without masks because they're eating.
So right now we're not contact tracing at lunch. Okay. There's just, and the reason for that, and Levi was great to remind me, is we don't want kids quarantining based on what another kid says. And so all of our mandatory quarantines have been because an adult who's in a supervisory role has said, yes, these students were in close contact, and we're going to continue with that practice. We don't feel like it's appropriate to go off of what other students say or what their recollection is when it comes to literally forcing kids to stay home from school. So, so right now we're not contact tracing for lunch at all.
Awesome. Yeah, I was concerned about that.
Yeah. The other thing, we talked about this, and so not a lot of new information, but the governor amended his health order, and Idaho Department of Health and Welfare also amended the current health order, providing us the opportunity to have 2 spectators per participant at our high school activities. We're extending that to our middle school extracurricular activities as well. They also designated cheerleaders as participants, and so now we have cheerleaders, and their parents may also attend. We did send in an assigned assurance page to the state saying that we would comply with the expectations, which includes increased cleaning between, say, the freshman and JV game and the JV and varsity game, ensuring that there is 12 feet of separation between spectators. Not all spectators have been as cooperative as we wish they would be, so we'll continue to work with them on that issue. We're really hoping that people just be grateful that they could come and they'd be very compliant, but there have been some exceptions to that so far, so it's been a bit of a challenge for our administrators. And then just a couple of other language changes. As we currently, what the plan states is that we would reevaluate the 6th grade music program for 3rd trimester, as well as field trips and those activities. I would just ask the board to approve language that says those may be approved by the superintendent for 3rd trimester. If we see the trend continue as we've seen it, particularly with vaccinations coming up, then we feel like it'd be great if we could get back to be able to do some of those fun activities for kids for 3rd trimester. And then the other activities, things like school dances and that, we'll just keep them with submitting their plans to the safety committee. And I just think that gives us the flexibility we need based on whatever our health orders are or what our situation is at the time of those activities. So that would not be a change on the other activities. Questions there?
Does that just need to be a directive from the board, or do we?
It's in the plan. So the language that was submitted to the board, if the board approves that language, then we're good to go. So,
So Dr. Wilson, back to the 2 parents per participant, so at a normal basketball game, Bonneville Hillcrest, we've got what, 12 on each team. That allows 24. 48, and then cheerleaders. So what are the issues you've been seeing? More people just trying to get in, or?
It hasn't really been people trying to exceed that. It's been more when it comes to you're supposed to be 12 feet away from someone who's not a member of your family. People want to socialize, and so they're not necessarily complying with that. In some cases, students have been permitted as that spectator, and kids want to be kids. They want to be grouped back together and cheering as the student section like we've had in the past. Totally understand people feeling that way. But if those students are together, they're supposed to be 12 feet apart from each other. And, students aren't necessarily going to want to do that. So just a couple of those types of issues. There have been a couple of circumstances maybe where we've have to reflect over my emails. I really think those have been the main issues that we've seen. Other questions on that at all? The other interesting thing is just with masks. So because we do have 2 current health orders, we have both, still the one that's in effect for Bonneville County that says you have to wear a mask unless you're engaged in, I've got the wording there, actively engaged in strenuous physical activity. And so, it's just an interesting application. Cheerleaders, for example, I wouldn't consider simply cheering on the side of strenuous physical activity. So we had to remind them that they really should be wearing masks while they're standing and cheering. At the point they're out on the court doing a routine or performing tumbling or stunts, that I would consider strenuous physical activity. That's where they could remove their mask. So just, it's just kind of fun because there's not like one plan you can go to. You got to look at both of those and really follow them, whatever the stricter order is. So, okay. So the last update, which is why I had to ask for the amendment to the agenda, is just love timing on things. But last Thursday, I had a great meeting with other superintendents with public health. They talked about this deadline or timeline that we should be expecting vaccines to be available for K-12 staff in mid-February. Asked us to start working on a survey with our staff to kind of get an idea about how many people would likely receive it. Started talking real tentatively about what a rollout would look like, and then really kind of the feeling I had from that meeting was you might expect a delay to that because they're going to meet, and chances are you might get bumped down the road and not moved up. And then I got a call yesterday from the Post Register saying, hey, the vaccine committee just said you guys are now eligible to receive vaccines. So what's your plan? So anyway, so a really quick turnaround on this. This afternoon, again with public health, has just been so awesome to meet with. We scheduled a meeting literally within 24 hours of that notice being given to us with other superintendents, and they have vaccines that are ready to go right now for our staff. And so with that, based on the survey that we did, we're estimating right now between 600 and 650 of our employees that want to receive the vaccine. And it will be up to employees. We don't have any policy that's going to require them to receive the vaccine. I'm not interested in a policy that's going to force people to receive a vaccine. I think that's the wrong way to go. I think it's a great opportunity for people that want to take a bit of a leap of faith and feel like it will work and be effective. There's a lot of people that have questions or concerns about the side effects, about the efficacy of it, about how it might impact their particular health conditions. So I don't think there's a good reason at all to try to require employees to receive it. So on a voluntary basis, right now, we've got pretty solid data that says that's going to be between 600 and 650 of our employees. And that's right in line with how many vaccines public health has available for our staff, which is great news. So that means we don't have to prioritize our staff, which is what we'd actually been working on for the last 2 days. So what I'd like to propose to the board is that we would amend our calendar to make this coming Friday essentially a half-day schedule, and then to do that again in 3 weeks. And what that will do is that gives us an opportunity to get all 650 of our employees that have expressed interest vaccinated. And it will also give them a weekend to recover from it if there are side effects. And some of our employees that work in the medical profession as well have reported some side effects and said they felt pretty ill for 24 to 48 hours. I think doing it on a Friday is really in our best interest as a district to avoid a disruption to school over the next couple of days after this. So it's a quick turnaround, but I just don't see any reason to spin our wheels.
So those 2 dates are the first dose and the second dose.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay.
So this week would be the first dose, and then 21 days, regardless of which vaccine we receive, 21 days would be the appropriate time for both vaccines to receive a second dose.
Oh, so all 600 or whatever that number turns out to be will be vaccinated Friday.
Yeah, with the first dose.
Awesome. And then, like the second dose is you got to have the 2. So that's so by February 5th, all of them will have received
At
all
least,
of the doses.
at least 640 of our employees based on, or I guess I'd say at most 640 based on, that's the number of vaccines that public health will release to us as a district.
So do they have to go to public health to get that?
No, we're working on a plan that we'll have 3 sites here. Still working to see if an external provider will administer that or if we'll use our own nursing staff to provide that. But one way or the other, Corey Smith, our district nurse, felt confident that under her direction and with the other RNs and LPNs we have in the district that we can handle it if we can't get an outside provider to do it for us. And public health is scrambling to get our outside providers to help.
Employees does not include trustees. Can.
Well, I'm not going to tell you no. So if there's available and a trustee felt they should, we can get you on the list. It does not include our spouses. That was very definitive today, but I think a trustee could if they need it. Because right now, I think we're going to be slightly under 640 based on the survey responses we have. My only inference from that is people who didn't respond to the survey are not interested. If there's people who didn't respond to either of my requests to respond to the survey that are interested, that would be the outlier, but that would kind of surprise me. Send it to them in both an email and a text message. I'd really be amazed if but there could be some, there could be a handful.
So there could be a handful also that when the surveys were sent both a couple days ago and this morning, we did not have the information that they'd be available on Friday. So there could be some that are still pondering whether or not that's the right direction they want to go, that all of a sudden jump on and take that survey immediately tonight, like knowing that it's available on Friday.
Yeah. So there's a chance we could exceed the demand, or demand could exceed the supply.
And you have some mechanism to make sure everybody doesn't show up at the same spot at the same time.
Yeah, we started working on that about
Okay.
4 o'clock today, so we'll have that all in place for Friday.
Yeah.
Very good.
I think that's great.
So the plan is to basically, we have a half-day schedule for the end of the last day of the school year. We add an hour onto that just simply so we can get kids fed. And so that's a schedule we would follow. So those are the 2 motions I'd ask the board to make. One, to approve the changes to the plan, and the second, to approve the changes to the calendar that I've recommended.
Yeah. So the first motion is to approve the changes to the plan with regards to not having to quarantine if you had on masks, et cetera, et cetera. There's quite some things in there.
I so move.
A second.
Moved by Mr. Calder, seconded by Mr. Dance. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And then we would need a motion to approve the adjustments to the calendar.
I move we approve those adjustments as described by Dr. Wilson. Second.
Moved by Mr. Dance, seconded by Mr. Jenkins. Is there any discussion on the calendar? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. All right, call for upcoming agenda items for meetings. I've written down 3 things just while we're sitting here. Mary, do you have those? I have just discussing the Rome program at the high school, the Rome program.
The mastery.
Mastery. Oh, okay, sorry. Also discussing the open meeting with regards to the governor's mandate with 10 people in our meetings is another one. And then also how we're going to promote the levy was another thing I had written down. Is there other things, you guys, that I'm missing?
No, I think those are the key ones.
And are we wanting to put those on January 27th?
I think the second 2, I think the Rome program, I'd like some time to visit with our high school principals about that. And
Put it on a different one.
yeah, I think maybe even after the supplemental levy might be a good time to address that.
That's fine. Okay, that sounds good. So Mary, the last 2, the open meeting and levy to be on the 27th. Okay. Is there anything else on that one? If not, then we're gonna go right back into executive session, you guys. This is awesome. So, So I'm wondering, should we just like, do you guys just want to pause for a second and grab your food? Because what do you guys want to do? Do you want to go right back in? Because we're going to be here for a while.
I'd say let's have the motion to go into executive session. We can bring in the food and I think the board could eat.
We can recess for a couple minutes after we go.
Okay, so the board will enter into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 742061B to consider the evaluation, dismissal, or disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agents or public school students. The executive session will be closed to the public as permitted by law. We need a motion to enter into executive session for the reasons stated.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Dance, seconded by Mr. Calder. We're gonna do a roll call vote. Chad Dance.
Yes.
Greg Calder.
Yes.
Paul Jenkins.
Yes.
Scott Lynch.
Yes.
Amy Landers, and a yes. We will go ahead and recess briefly, just so people can grab food.
Drinking. You were talking, and then you took a drink.